So, today in the Segou region of Mali, 7 jihadists were actually captured. Ladies and gentlemen, 7 of them were captured. Now, they were not just captured, they were actually 10. 3 were deleted. And by the time the 7 that were captured saw the number, according to the information, they said they were outnumbered in the ratio of 5-1 with heavy vehicles on site. So they had no other option than to surrender. Why didn't they shout Allahu Akbar? Okay, so why were they captured? They went to a particular farming settlement in the outskirts of Segou, where some farmers were about to harvest their crops with the intention of collecting jizya. 10 of them, they've been going in small numbers, and according to the information we had, they always get eliminated when they go in small numbers. So this time they came with 10. So believing that, if 2-3 cannot do it, definitely, at least if they take themselves 2-1, they should have a group of 5. And if they go for 3 formation, let's say complete squad on 3s, definitely they will have about 3 groups with 1 other person extra. But ladies and gentlemen, what they did not believe was that the Malian armed forces were going to be in that settlement. And this is against the propaganda you hear on the Western media that, the Malian armed forces, the Malian government is being encircled and all of that. Look, they are making the propaganda look as if Bamako is Mali. Mali is big. Mali is bigger than even Nigeria. Man. And for you to have troops in those regions, it means that the Malians are doing a very, very fantastic job. So, according to the information we've been given, they've now captured these jihadists, and who knows? For the fact that they surrendered, who knows? Definitely one thing is for sure, is certain, that they will be giving intels to the Malian farmer on how they've been carrying out their operation and all of that. Somebody equally said in our intelligence community that they should thank God that it is not the Gatia militia that actually caught them. That those Tuareg pro-government militia are extremely brutal, that they wouldn't even be able to, they wouldn't respect any type of law or anything. Those ones don't hear go, they don't hear come. Once they catch you as a jihadist, they get you gone. So, luckily for them, they fell into the hands of the civil security forces, which are the farmers. I actually think the farmers are just being, they're just being fair in this situation, and they're trying to follow, normal civil, way of operation. So, well, let's see what happens to those 7 that have just been caught. So, according to the information, after the farmers actually took their harvest and they left the farming settlement. But as we speak to you, law and order has been restored in that settlement. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's move forward. Now, let me say this, right? It is very, very important for us to understand what the security of Mali means. A lot of people will continue to say, oh, why is somebody in Nigeria speaking so much for Mali? You don't understand. Oh, look, the former retired CDS in Nigeria, Christopher Musa, said if anything happens to the Sahel, that they will pour into Nigeria like a stew storm. Let me not lie to you, yeah? It is very, 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 very important that Mali is secured. And given what even happened in Mali, for any reason, I think the African Union is not an existential organization. To be honest with you, let me give you a brief story. If Libya, because if you compare the size of Libya to the size of Mali, let me put this to you. If Libya can suffer from humanitarian catastrophe and it affected the entire Sahel, now imagine what is going to happen if there is a serious destabilization in Mali. The whole West Africa bloc will be gone. So it's high time, we just take it to a whole nother level. I'm expecting support to be coming from all over the place. Not just Mali, I'm talking about Sudan. Now, we've been hearing some type of information from different malicious sources that, this is the time for Niger and Burkina Faso to support Mali and all of that, that it's not Mali's fight alone and all of that. Let me tell you this, right? I won't jump the gun, right? Jumping the gun would be me saying that Burkina Faso and Niger should support Mali, right? They all have their sovereign security issues to handle. Every country in West Africa has that to handle, actually. Some months ago, we were talking about the humanitarian catastrophe in the northern part of Ghana, where they were flying into Burkina Faso and citizens were running into Cote d'Ivoire. Recently, it was Cote d'Ivoire during their election. It was Cameroon, which day? It's Chad. But look, Sudan is there. Let me be honest with you, right? You hardly will have one country that has total peace around this place. And the only reason why some of those countries have peace, somewhere like Mauritania, it is because look at the population of Mauritania, just 2.7 million. If they are not complacent, they don't stand a chance. So that is why you see Mauritania, you've been hearing information that Mauritania is actually from different anonymous sources, that Mauritania is actually given a sort of hospitality to some of these elements, right? Yeah, I just think the security of Mali is very, very important, but asking Burkina Faso and Niger to take up the responsibility alone is actually ludicrous. This is something that should be the collective alliance of African states. They should be actively contributing to this fight, most especially the countries in the southern hemisphere of Africa. If it's not reaching you, it's because some people are blocking they are trying to truncate the channel upstream, and that's why it's not flowing downstream. So now, the only reason is because you must have been hearing about this thing like, oh, Germany is now saying their citizens should leave Mali. This country is saying they should leave Mali. Most of those countries are Europeans. Now, let me give you one thing. Why are they leaving? It is very, very important for us not to just fall for the propaganda narrative. Okay? Number one, what are they doing there? Because the normal intention, the normal thing is that the normal narrative is that these countries are better than Africa, right? Africa generally. They want to tell you, oh, the UK is better, this country is better, that country is better. What is a German doing in Mali? That's the question. Oh, do you know how long they've been flying with the narrative that there is, terrorism issue in the AES? So what are they still doing in Mali up until this point? Right? So let's take it away from even that argument, right? Do you know that a lot of NGOs have been captured recently? Some of them are still getting investigated. Some of them are getting encircled. We heard from an anonymous source that most of those people that are leaving because some of them have been in Mali for a long time. I'm even hearing that some agency have people that are lodged in hotels. They've paid overtime. They used to function properly when, the democratic system was still very, very functional in the AES states. And the reason why these people are still waiting is because they are hoping so much that some sort of miracle will happen. You still hear about illegal mining here and there. A lot of people are contributing to this destabilization, information propaganda agenda just to make sure, people on the outside don't have a good feel about the internal situation in this country. They keep lying that, oh, Bamako is about to be encircled and all of that. Man. So the whole thing is, if we can't have your resources, we are going to give you both media damage and we're going to contribute so much problem that you can have, that you can even, like, it's just to scramble the whole thing and make it look like, look, Mali is not somewhere good for you. Do you know how long the Russian propaganda actually flied? So, according to what I heard, they said now that it's looking more obvious that, look, this military government is not stopping anytime soon. And now that they're even thinking that the people we wage a sort of internal crisis and all of that, that is going to be discord, and it's not happening. The citizens are supporting Assimi Goitas and his government more than ever. Now they have to leave, but they can't just leave. The best way for them to go out is to build a narrative that suits why they are living. A lot of people don't understand that some of this exit is a desperate exit. Do you know how many people were plundering resources in Mali before now? And today alone, you heard that over 100 companies that have illegal mining permits, right? Illegal. Maybe they bribe these to get this permit and all of that. Assimi Goita government cancelled everything in one day. So some of those people have been doing this illegal job for a long time, and now they have to leave, right? Because they know that the time is going to come, but let's just continue to steal the most we can before we get out. Now that they have to get out, it's like, even if it's not their country, they feel they have a lot to lose leaving Mali. But what can we do while we are leaving? We use our PR machine to make sure we stain your image. I hope the Malians listening to me get the game. The biggest plan was to cause a sort of humanitarian crisis by blocking the fuel, because they know how important fuel is to Mali, Mali being a landlocked country. But unfortunately, fuel continues to enter Mali. Unfortunately, the sort of insurrection they are expecting in Mali did not happen. So get the game. So I just said I should clear this whole narrative that has been going on. Now, and sorry, before I go forward, also you have to know that the ex-politician cannot wait to get back to power, right? They're already starving. A lot of them are no longer living the luxury life they used to. So it's a deep crisis, and you must try to understand where it's all coming from. A luta continua. You don't see, there is no option for the Malians. They cannot give up. It's not their fault that they can't just. Because where they are going right now is better than where they are coming from. I hope they realize that. Now let's move forward, right? Burkina Faso have now successfully cut off a key logistical supply to the JNIM in Fada Ngoma. And according to the information we heard, that some of these jihadists are already trying to negotiate a peaceful exit. What do I mean by peaceful exit? They are negotiating their surrender. That they will surrender if their safety can be guaranteed. I told you that, look, the Anifa forest was gradually getting encircled, and there is no escape route. Normally, they've actually had minor skirmish we've been getting this report, but we wanted some, clear evidences. We wanted picture evidences. We wanted big evidences, but our sources could not just give us any. So I chose not to bring out this information, right? But today they actually said some of these elements are now saying that, look, we want to surrender, but our safety, can it be guaranteed? So, ladies and gentlemen, we've not heard anything, because according to the information we gave that was given to us, the general staff of the armed forces of Burkina Faso has not really given any information to that effect. So we'll be waiting and we'll be patiently listening. If there's any development from there, we'll be bringing it to you. According to Sputnik Africa, there is call for public attention to a disinformation agenda by certain accounts on social media that mimics Sputnik news style. Now they are saying that they are bringing out information just the way Sputnik organized their information. And these informations are fake, they are propaganda. Sputnik has already debunked this claim, but they are making the public aware now that, look, this era of social media information, they're trying to mess it up for us. Now, the question to us Africans is, let us sit down and look at these things properly. Why are these people, using all type of tool at their disposal to try to destabilize and to sell us a fake narrative? Why? The question is, what do they stand to gain in telling lies? Number one, look at the situation of Europe right now, economically, right? Where would they get these resources from? This whole war they are fighting in Ukraine, where will they get these resources back from? That's the billion-dollar question. You can answer that question. And if Africa successfully end up driving these people out, they will have to. Now it's like you are driving someone out, but because of the entitlement mindset, they are trying to scramble and roughen the grass. But if they eventually go within some period of time, the economic catastrophe will make them come back. These are predictions that have been made by economists, that if Africa can put their act together, migration law is going to transverse. And you already know what it is. Now, the last information we have today, before that, you can see that this is what the Maya in Burkina Faso. When they tell you about Burkina Faso, it's like you will be hearing bullet sound every second. But the reality is different. So if Burkina Faso is so much of a dangerous place, would you have the Maya in Burkina Faso? And now some of our people on this platform that has actually traveled to Burkina Faso, my question is, have you noticed anybody acting out of character since you got to Burkina Faso? Has anybody even behaved aggressively towards you? These are some of the most law-abiding countries in Africa as we speak. Unfortunately. And the fact that everything is going normal in this country is not nice for the Western propaganda. It's not nice because Africa is supposed to be a place that is not law-abiding. And the question is, why is the asylum door? Why is it everly opened? Why? Why is Europe always opening the migration door? It is for a reason. It's a gradual chain reaction. Of course, chaos for you here. You won't remember your resources. So you want to tell me that the Sudanese remember that they have gold anymore? Now they only want to leave. Then what happens after? No, now let's even say the Sudanese are allowed to escape to safety and all of that. What happens after? What happens after is that they will forget that they even have a land called Sudan. What they want to do now is even to leave. So the question is, the people backing this crisis, what do they stand to gain? The resources. See, the Sudanese people, these people don't see the Sudanese people better than how they see me or you or anyone. So we don't have any other option than to come together and to think alike, as long as our thinking and our movement is progressive. And no progress is too small, ladies and gentlemen. And that is why I continue every day to put in the effort to bring out legitimate information to you guys. So, according to the information that we receive, that many foreigners are still in Mali in paid accommodation in hotels, etc., who no longer get any benefit financially. But now that they gotta be laid off, they want to make their exit look like a humanitarian catastrophe is going on in Mali. So get the game. All these, now this country is saying their citizens should leave. Now this country is saying their citizens should leave. These countries have been benefiting from Mali overtly and covertly for a very long time. Look, change does not come on the platter of gold. When change is about to come, different things will happen. Look, the Malian civilians, they are moving freely within their city, right? But all these elements are staying on the outskirts. You can't even say the same thing about, look, the situation in Mali is still more fair compared to the situation in Nigeria. Nobody can tell me now that there is a road in Nigeria, in the outskirts of any state, that you can travel and your mind would be at peace. Even if a little child run across the road, everybody will panic. That is the true situation in Nigeria. But the media will not give that. No. The CIA asset is in power. No. Nigeria is at peace. But a country that chooses to not oblige, that chooses to not bow to the imperial agenda, you can see the propaganda warfare. If you don't get it, forget about it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy 7200 signing out, enough said. But before I go, this is just the information I'm bringing to you. Tomorrow, we have some counter-terrorism information getting to us, but we are still processing this information, want to know how legitimate it is. Though from our sources, but still, even if information are coming out from any source, right now, we process and we reprocess because everybody has their interests. Like I said earlier, there is a pro-Malian, there is a pro-AES source, there is a pro-Jihadist source, and there is a pro-European source. Now, the pro-European source, some of them are even some of our own indigenous people that have dual citizenship. Get the game. Don't fall for the reading. Thank you, and God bless you.